Good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, February 27th. It is 8:37 a.m. Let's get started by taking a look at today's news. So we just had durable goods come out at 8:30. We have pending home sales and a speaker today at 11. So might be a little bit slow in the morning. It is Monday. Mondays tend to they tend to suck for for my trading, and that's true actually all the way back into my original trading days. Mondays were always tough for me, but so be it. We're just gonna trade it like any other day. Let's get let's get a little bit of homework started here. So we will go move our value area high, value area low, VPOC, overnight high, overnight low. Let's get everything placed properly here. So this is overnight high. Not sure what just happened. Looks like we just froze. Okay. So NinjaTrader just kind of taking a break here. All right. Okay, so there's overnight high, overnight low. Let's see if we can find value area high, value area low. I'm switching over to this chart. That other chart is just kind of fucking with me. I'm not sure why. This is certainly not the most exciting part of doing the homework, but needs to be done nonetheless. All right, so we have all of our levels in place. Let's just take a quick look at what happened overnight. So we have the close of Friday session right around here. And you can see we've traded above that the entire night. Inventory definitely net long. We are coming off of overnight high, and overnight VPOC is 54.45. So pretty much right at overnight VPOC. Okay. So let's come bring in our homework chart. Okay, sorry about that. That was not intended to be moved. And we're going to stretch out our micro composites to include yesterday's trading because I'm sorry, Friday's trading because we are certainly within the micro composite. We traded right in the meaty part of that micro composite on Friday. Okay. So let's see, where are we currently trading? 54.47. Stretch this out a little. Let's take a look if there are any levels from Friday that we breached that need to be removed. Certainly, this swing is no longer valid for us. Everything is running very choppy right now. I might actually end up restarting this completely. Microcomposite VPOC, those tend to stay on. We don't really pull those off. We have this swing here that we came through from beneath, but never really tested yet from above. So we're going to leave that one on the chart. And we're also going to put on a swing for Friday's low, which seems to already be on here. So that's actually nice. So we tested that almost to the tick, so that worked out nicely there. And this swing here, wow, okay. So a couple of levels held really nicely. I'm actually gonna copy and paste this one right here. Okay. So we have Friday's low, Friday's high. We're opening 54.47. We're right around up here. I want to give us a little bit more room to see price on both sides here. Okay. Let's take a look, see where we're at in the in this micro composite. You could see we actually put a decent amount of time in right at this low volume node. Let me just kind of talk about what could happen here. So right now we have this distribution here, this low volume node separating out this upper distribution and this lower distribution. And you've seen me draw this now probably every day for the last at least 5 days, if not, I mean, probably further. What could happen, and does happen in a lot of cases, is that areas of low volume get filled in over time. Okay. Now we're not going to try to predict that, but certainly that could happen, and if it does happen, that's going to change some things, and we'll deal with it if it does. But so we actually spent a fair amount of time trading in this area. Now we didn't put in a ton of volume. You can see how we still have this clear low volume node here. But what we are going to look for today. Okay. What we're going to look for today, since we're opening up here, we're going to look for a test of overnight high. This will be hypothesis number 1. Test of overnight high with a break to upper end of these swings here. Let me stop for a second. I see we're missing a swing that we need. So I'm just going to copy, paste, and this should have a swing high here. Okay, sorry about that. So to go back to what I was saying, open, test overnight high, get above overnight high, test these previous swings, previous VPOC here, and we'll see if this fails. If this can fail, we're going to look for a push back down into this high volume node right here. We're not talking about much of a push here, but down to about 54.35-ish. Ultimately, with the idea to come down and test the lower end of this distribution. All right, looks to be about 54.10. If this holds, we're going to expect a turn back up to go test the other end of this distribution, coming in towards the highs from last week. So that's going to be expectation number 1. Expectation number 2 is going to be an open push down towards 54.10. Test, hold, could even be a little bit lower into this former VPOC, into VPOC from Friday. Test, hold here, and then turn up, coming to, once again, test the highs of last week. That's expectation number 2. Expectation number 3, we're going to do one expectation where we get outside of last week's highs. And I'll tell you, if we do, we got some room to move up there. So in fact, let me scrunch this down again here so we can see what's happening above there. So let's get back to right around here. Expectation number 3. And I think the way that would happen would actually be with a little bit of a pullback first. So some type of action in the open, pullback towards the value area low, VPOC of Friday. And that, I think, could be the onus of the beginning of a push, getting towards last week's highs, test above it, hopefully give us an opportunity to get in. And then, as you could see here, very low volume up here. And I know we have some swings in there, but we could, if we can get above this swing level right here, about 55, about 55.05-ish, if we can get above there, then I think we have a pretty good room to run on top of that. This is going to be expectation. I think this was number 4. I'm not sure what number I'm on. Sorry. The flip side of this is that we are flirting again with the upper end of value of this microcomposite. Okay, so we're messing around up here. If we could get an open, push up, fail, maybe even take an attempt at the high of this microcomposite, fail, that could give us the onus to push down, get beneath this low volume node, beneath this area of separation, and then push down to microcomposite VPOC right here. So those are going to, I think that was 5. Those are going to be, that's not a bad 5. Those are going to be the expectations this morning for crude. Okay. Let's also note that we are opening in a gap up. Okay, here is Friday's high was 54.25. We're opening 54, currently trading 54.44. We haven't opened yet. So we have about a 20 cent gap up, and that certainly could come into play. I would expect that gap to be filled. That there's not a huge gap, but we'll keep it in mind when the trading begins. Let's go to also just take a look here. If you remember, and I'm sure it's going to change once the open comes in. If you remember, I've been talking about how much liquidity there is in oil, and how often we see these bids and asks at over 100 contracts for each level. Now it's prior to the open, so they're a little lower, but I just want to note that, so that when we do open and we get a few minutes of the trading, we'll see what happens here. We'll see if these go back to being closer to 100 at every level. We got a few here, 50, 60, a couple of 60s here. These are all low compared to what we saw at the on Friday, or at least since we've been paying more attention to that. All right, let's go over to the S&P. Well, it looks like we made another all-time high overnight, which is going to bring us back to something I've been mentioning. As I understand it, and what we've now actually experienced together, is, generally speaking, all-time highs made overnight tend to be broken during the regular trading hours. So we're going to expect the same thing. It does not have to be today. That is not what I'm saying, but I'm saying that we are going to expect that the all-time high is going to be set in a regular trading session. So if we trade away from that today, we certainly are going to have an expectation that we're going to come back to it at some point soon. So we have our overnight high, overnight low, value area, and VPOC from Friday. We do have a nice little area of double distribution, a low volume node here from overnight. So that'll be interesting to pay attention to. Let's go over to the homeward chart. S&P, unless I see something different on here, we are going to remain in the mindset of we are only looking for longs. Well, things are starting to change here a little bit on the S&P. Let's flip this microcomposite so it's on the right-hand side here. Okay, I don't need these numbers either. Okay, so we're starting to balance now. I mean, we've had a couple of days of balance previously. We saw it down here that we had 3 days of balance, and from there we burst up. We have 3 days of balance here as well. And give me 1 second. One thing I want to look at is, and not only are we balancing in price, we're balancing in value. So if you look here, value on this day, on the 21st, I don't remember what day of the week that was, value was between here and here. I'm sorry, here. So you can see the yellow part of the volume profile. The following day, the value remained inside that same area. So value pretty much remained unchanged. The following day, the value remained in that same area, almost matching it to the tick. So value remained unchanged. There's a lot of acceptance happening up here. Certainly, this seems to be coiling up for another big move. We don't know which way that move is going to be. But at this point, I am going to continue to be watching predominantly only for long trades. Let's see where we are currently trading. 63.50. Okay, so we are currently 63.50. I don't need much room above me because the fact is I have no way of placing targets. That's not true, but I'm not going to place targets on here. We'll deal with that in the event we get into trades on the S&P. But expectation number one is going to be an attempt to push up, test last week's high, fail, come down towards VPOC from Friday, chop around, maybe test overnight low, and then ultimately make a push down towards value area low of Friday, possibly towards the low of last week. This is going to be expectation number one. And I would be okay with taking some short trades as they occur towards the upper end here. And even if we get a setup like this, I would be okay with taking those type of short trades. But it has to set up really nicely. Expectation number two. Actually, I'm going to pause this for a little bit. I will be right back. And we'll see if I have time to do more. Okay, sorry about that. So expectation number two is going to be, remind myself again where we are currently trading. Okay. Expectation number two is going to be a open, test higher, fail, push down towards microcomposite VPOC, okay, which we now have here. Potential fail here, hold near microcomposite VPOC value area high of Friday. That's going to give us the opportunity to start building up steam for the next push above. This is really the setup I would love to see today. You can also see here, might be a little bit tough, but we have a large area of volume towards the high on Friday. Real good distribution. Real good low volume node down here. So really, this would be a great setup for what I'm looking for. And that's all we're going to do on the S&P for today. Remember, I am predominantly going to be looking for long trades on there, but we are now starting to be willing to accept some short trade opportunities since we have been balancing up top here. It is absolutely reasonable to believe that we will continue to balance until proven otherwise. So we're getting close to the open here. What do we got there? About 2 minutes. Let's see here. Okay. All right, sorry about that. Let's take a look. Let's see what happens here at the open. Trading near the high from overnight. We do have an interesting looking. Let me see here. We do have a pretty substantial. This is interesting. So if we look back at the BBs here, we do have negative divergence from this swing high to this swing high right here, and pretty substantial actually. You can see it much more clearly in the 1597 than anything else. And now as we come over towards where we are now, we do not have negative divergence from this swing high to what we're currently doing right now. We have it on the 610, but we don't have it on the 987 or the 1597. So we might potentially do an open a day trade here, taking a short at the overnight high or near the overnight high, which we just kind of missed as we were talking about. It happened awfully quick. Just because of the negative divergence on the 610, but this one would not have met our normal trading worlds would have been a little bit more aggressive, and specifically one of those opening day trades that I'm looking to see if we can't learn a little bit more about. All right, let's see what happens. Got to be careful not to get overzealous about getting into a trade. Just because the market is open does not mean we need to be in a trade. Let's make sure we get the setups that we're looking for. You can see the value area high of the market composite VPOC is right here, 54.67. You know, we have that annotated here on our chart, and the swing levels and former VPOCs above us up here in that 71. There's another one right above there too, up to 78. So opening towards overnight high, pretty much tested it right away. Interesting that we do not see the size, the number of contracts on the bids and the asks like we saw on Friday. So we definitely have come down a little bit. You know, we were looking at, and again, this might change throughout the day today, but we were looking at sizes of almost every level near 100 contracts, and it's there a little bit more on the offer. You can see them on the offer here, stacking up more, whereas the bids are a little bit lighter. That's an interesting thing to see right there in itself. You know, in the old days, the concept would be, okay, definitely there's more supply up here than there is demand down here. So the expectation is we're going to push down. It'll be easier to push down than it would be to move up. But in today's world of depth of market and how many games they play, it's lost some of its validity. So once again, remember, we open with a gap up here. Haven't made any effort to close that gap. Really haven't made any effort to do anything. You know, we're in a 6-tick range from the open. Just obnoxiously small range. This will kind of give me a chance to talk about depth of market and this one more time. So, you know, what we're seeing here, everything in red are contracts on the ask, on the offer. These are people that are willing to sell contracts of the oil future if you pay the price that they're asking for. So, and right now people are doing that, and people we're getting up, we're going through overnight high. The bid, these are people that are willing to buy contracts if you will sell it to them at the price they're asking for. And these are considered less aggressive orders. So the ones that are sitting on the ask and sitting on the bid are a little less aggressive. There are traders that are saying, okay, you know what? There's a nice big sell order right there. There are traders that are saying, just real quick, we didn't take a short here because we didn't have negative divergence on. We only had negative divergence on one of our BBs, so only on the 610 here. So would have been an aggressive short as we broke overnight high. But again, you know, we are towards the upper end of that value, and we have to gap up. So we'll see if we can't. We'll see if we don't make a move to close that. It looks like, well, obviously we are currently making a move to close that. So as orders go into the market, they are market orders. These are people that want to buy and are willing to pay the price that the sellers are asking. So those are aggressive orders. A nice big offer came down, 171 right here. That offer came in while that was the best offer. So most likely that's real. Most likely that's real. So what we're going to see, so right now as we start trading, if we trade the offer, you'll see this yellow number go down and that number go down with it. So that was some serious size going off on the offer. Not in large trades. If it was large trades, we would see it show up here. It was a lot of smaller trades. Not that really matters all that much. At this point, now that we've had this failure up here, we are going to start watching for a potential short opportunity. But remember, we want to be careful. The low of day currently is 40, which means we need to be in our trade at higher than 50 because we really want that 10 tick potential profit target. But it is early in the day, so you can you can mess around with that a little bit more. But I would say we're going to start watching for a potential short opportunity. Oops, sorry, too big. We have this early area of too small. This early area of consolidation, this 2 candle consolidation, really not much to work off of, but it does put us near VWAP. The open of the day is right here, the 54.54. So right now that's what I would be watching for. I'm watching for a pullback to here, maybe giving us an opportunity to get short somewhere in this 53, 52 range. High of day from Friday was 26, so still expecting that to be tested here, right here. So we are sitting at a value area high of another one of our VPOCs. So again, that's really wanted to get in a short there. Again, this is an area that if we can get below and stay below, we expect the move to continue. Overnight VPOC here held nicely. We came through it, tested it from beneath, held nicely as a launching point for this most recent push down. Really wanted to find a way into a short there, but okay, so be it. So right now, and we kind of got to sit on the sidelines here. We have 2 areas from overnight where we were right in here, 2 times that we were right in this area here. So we need to see if this is going to potentially hold as support right now. We see a previous low here. All this little micro, double, triple bottom here at the value area low from overnight at 54.33. I would be willing if we come up here and we create a positive divergence. I would be willing to try to catch a long. I'm more interested in a short right now on a pullback, but you're starting to see some offers build up here. And they're building up well, right now it's not inside price, but they were building up while they were at the inside price, meaning best offer. That's usually a pretty strong sign that these people want to sell. Let's see what happens here. All right, so you can see trades are going off, and there's more contracts being traded than the number we're seeing here. This 37. Before this, it was down to 0. So that means that there were people selling here, and after they sold everything that we were aware of, they added more to sell. Let's see if that continues to be the case. So they've lifted. Bids are starting to stack a little. And I'm not saying this because I'm looking at this right now for a trade, because I'm not yet looking for a trade entry here. But at some point, I want you guys to be able to read and understand this for when we are ready to get into a trade, to look at this as that last little bit of information, that fine tuning. So, but for now, what I'm looking at here, and this is actually right now for me a little bit conflicted, because we had this push down, and I really liked how this was starting to accelerate to the downside with the idea that it's going to attempt to close the gap from Friday's open. But in the meantime, we stopped right here, right above, a tick above this this area. So that's a nice little bit of support. But I still would rather be short than long here. And I'm really tempted to get into a short trade here. Really, really tempted. Low a day, 34. Really would like a bit of a bigger pullback here in order to take this trade. But I'm really, really liking how this is setting up right now. It's just potentially not setting up well enough for my rules here. And in fact, that is the case. So I kind of have to just be patient and wait. I am going to put an order in to begin building a position here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to this early bit of consolidation. I still like that potentially as a area to continue to get. This is really starting to look like a spot I want to get into my first short. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to get in still a little too low for me. I want it to come up a little further before really looking to get into the first contract. But this is kind of where I want to be. So I'm going to take that first short here. This might be a little early, but I said on Friday I plan to be a little bit more aggressive on my trade options, and I'm gonna honor that right now. I'm gonna use demo account for exactly what it's meant to be used, and that is to fine tune and continue to practice. So this is a little bit earlier than I would normally get into this type of trade, but I do like this setup here. Overnight VPOC, we saw held as resistance before. We've come up to 21 EMA. We're right below VWAP, right below middle of the day. I would be willing to scale into this trade. I also love this dip here, this low volume area. It just comes to a screeching halt. I like this as potential resistance too. So hey, what's happening, Mike, tonight?
Hey, what's going on there, Eddie?
Oh, nothing. So we're in our first contract, and I'd be willing to scale in if it comes up against us. I'm going to be looking. I don't necessarily have a price that I want to scale in at. Certainly, if we can come up to around here, I'm definitely adding a contract. Definitely going to be adding a short here. I may even add one if we push up below that. But for now, really, what I'd like to see, even though I'm only in one contract and I'd love to be in a bigger position, really what I'd like to see now is the continued push down with the idea of testing the overnight. I'm sorry, the gap at 54.26. So we're going to cheat ahead of it by a couple of ticks. There's our profit target for this. Oh, you know what? Let me do it another way. And we'll get in. I'm not gonna get in too much as far as the software goes yet, but ultimately I will get into how I use the software, right or wrong, to manage the orders and stuff. But so still now, one of the things that I'm going to pay attention to though is the BBs. Right now, we don't have any positive divergence, so we have a increase in price along with an increase in BBs. Okay, that's not positive divergence. That's just BBs following price. But what could happen here? We could see some consolidation here before the next effort down, and if in that time the BBs do this and give us positive divergence, that will change my idea for this trade. I will look to get out of this trade. I don't even care if it's at the 10 tick profit target or not. That will be a reason to want to get out of this trade. But for now, we've just kind of just sat in quicksand. And one of the things I would always tell people when we watch volume profile, and I don't really deal with this till much later in the day, as the profile had a chance to build, is you expect to chop around the VPOC. Because that's what high volume nodes do. They create areas of trade. So here we are testing right below this low volume node. So it's not the most surprising thing to see us kind of slow down in here, but definitely from this open, the way we opened, and the fact that we got below, and I'd like to see us get below and stay below this value area high from one of our micro composites. The shape of this line, dash dot tells us that it is from a microcomposite. The fact that it's blue tells us it's a value area. The fact that we did our homework and we know what it is, we know it's a value area high. So what we're looking for here is, can we get down below it and start making our way back to the VPOC of the microcomposite that this is the value area high of. I'll bring in the homework charts so that you see what I mean. So we are currently sitting the red candle is current trading now, and you can see this value area high. This is from previous VPOC, previous microcomposite. What we're looking for is can we get below it and start trading down to the bottom end of this distribution. Now I have a profit target set right here above these levels because that is what I'm going to shoot for. You could see how this low here, you can see how many times this area has held. So I'm not going to get greedy and make the assumption that the fact that I'm in this trade means it's going to push down further. So right now I have a predetermined profit target above previous swings down here, but we're getting to a point that I might be considering adding into my position here.
Where did you buy in?
Short from 54.44.
Okay, got it.
And I actually am looking to add on here. I'm going to do that right now. So we now have 2. Okay. And we're going to put in a second profit target here. Okay. And we are watching still for one other opportunity to add onto our short, and I'm going to look to do that right about here. So I'm actually going to put an order in now because I want to be in line. The earlier your order gets in, the more likely you are to get filled. So if we do push up to here, I want to be in line. So let's talk about why I'm still okay with looking for a short even with this push. So what we have here, it's a little bit of a broken one, but you got to push up, shoulder, retracement, head, push down. And what I'm looking for is we might ultimately create a second shoulder before trying to make a further push down. In the meantime, we have negative divergence on every one of these BBs. And from what it looks like on those charts, that would remain negative even if we push up in price right now. We would still have negative divergence. So I'm okay looking to get into a third contract short. Profit target.
I never really understood what the BBs tell you. What do the BBs tell you?
So I won't get into the math behind it, okay? But basically what it is, each BB is representing a value. I don't want to get too technical here. So
no. But what does it basically mean in the basic?
Imagine 2 moving averages, okay? So you have let's look at this one. This one's a 21 bar moving average, okay? Imagine if I had a 50 bar moving average. It would look different. That moving average would be currently at a different value than this one is, okay? Because it's taking in more data. The difference between those two is pretty much what this is plotting. So this is plotting the difference between 2 moving averages. But what you're looking at it for is you're looking for this to tell you a potential sign of reversal, and reversal would be what I'm looking for here, where I have price is creating new highs and potentially now about to do that again, push up towards the high, but the BBs are not. The BBs are lagging behind that new high. They're going to be below. That creates that negative divergence. And hang on, I actually want to get into this trade here. So shit, it missed me by a tick. Darn it.
Oh, sorry.
No, you didn't do it. The trade was already out there. It just didn't.
It just didn't reach it.
Yeah, just missed it by a tick. I mean, it might come back up and get me. Now we're starting to see some size building up here. All of these are over 100. So we're starting to see a bunch of people looking to sell, a lot of contracts looking to sell, which could potentially be a good sign for us. But a lot of times this is all horse shit. So you look at them, you look at the BBs to look for the number one way we use it is looking for signs of reversal with divergence. So regardless of what the price on it means, regardless of what these values mean, what does it mean to be at 0.743? It doesn't make a difference. What you're looking for is from this high to now, we're coming down. From this high to now, we're coming down. As this comes up and retests the high, the BBs most likely, and a lot of this is going to depend on how it forms, because these BBs change obviously as price continues to trade. These BBs continue to change, but the way it looks right now is if we were to test the current high of day, these BBs would not also be at their current high of day. They wouldn't reach up here; they would be below, and that is a sign of weakness. I am going to move my order in. I do want to be in the straight. Okay, so we got our 3 contracts on. We are with our current entry price 48. So let's put. Okay, so we got our 3 contracts on. We've built the position. I would like to see. I'd like this reversal to kind of take place. I really don't want this to lag around. Because it is 3 contracts for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this order out of the way. 38 will be my first profit target. That is 10 ticks. And it's not just because it's 10 ticks. Actually, wait a minute. What did it adjust my price here? 47. So 37 will be my first profit target. And it's not only because it's 10 ticks. It's a couple ticks above the current low of day. Now, it looks like, again, if we look down at these BBs, let me just scroll some of this down. If we look down at these BBs, it looks like if we actually do make a turn down and we push towards the current low of day, it looks like we will not have divergence. The BBs on the 610, let's bring this over here forward. The BBs on the 610 have made a decent move up as price has come up, but the other ones really have not. The other ones have barely bounced. So if we get a price move that brings us down to the current low of day in price, most likely every one of these. Now, keep in mind, I'm going off of this. There's a white vertical line in each of those BB charts right there. All right, I'm hovering over it right now. That is the current. That's the opening of the current pit session. So when I talk about current low of day, I'm talking about the lowest BB after that line. Okay. So right now, if you look at where that current lowest BB is, it looks like if we were to start pushing price down to test the current low of day, which happened right here, and you can see on all 3 of those charts where those BBs are, it looks like the BBs will also then be breaking that and creating a new current low of day. So that is not divergence. And hopefully it happens so I can point it out. Maybe I could actually draw it. Give me 1 second. That'll probably help. If this were to push down, okay, and not necessarily straight line like that, these BBs would most likely come below its current lowest BB. This one would almost certainly come below the current lowest BB. This is the only one I'm not sure of, but I do think it would. And I'm only saying that just from seeing it before, seeing how these BBs print as price happens. I mean, right now we're not getting any move down, so that's not really helping us. But so that's why I only have 1 contract looking to get out ahead of the low of day. If I thought we were going to create divergence, and if that changes if we actually do get a freaking move down, which we are currently not getting, and I'm not crazy about where my stop has to be here. That's not a great spot for a stop loss on this trade. If we do actually get a move down, then at that point we'll draw this out. We'll see what it looks like. If it does create divergence, and the way that could happen is the move down can kind of happen like this. If we just take a slow pace down, these BBs might actually start doing this. And then if we get to the low, if we ever push down, and if we get to the low and we've created divergence on the BBs, I'm going to adjust this. Then at that point, I won't be just taking 1 contract of profit target. I'm going to take 2 contracts off here and then leave the other one that I currently have on for my larger last contract, what you call a runner. But right now we kind of have to see it happen. I'm actually not thrilled about what's cooking up here right now. I'd like to see this start pushing down, get away from this consolidation area, get back below middle of the day, get back below overnight VPOC, which is the thick red line here. I'd like to see us get below here and start building up some force, because I really don't want those BBs to create diversion. I really want to see this to be the beginning of a push down, down to test Friday's range. To get inside Friday's range. The high was 54.26. I really want to see this get into test that range and ultimately test Friday's VPOC. So that's actually where we're going to put our order here, 356. We'll come up like 5 ticks above it. Okay. But we're nowhere near there at this point, and we really need to see this start coming down. Man,
you actually foresaw this happening a few minutes ago, seeing the consolidation right here. You said,
yeah,
after looking at the head, the shoulders, and then the head, and then possibly some consolidation. So you kind of called it. You nailed it right there.
Yeah, so this is the setup that we were looking for. Now, I might have gotten into some of the contracts a little bit early, but again, as it was setting up, the way that we saw some resistance, if you weren't on to see it, it's hard to explain, and I don't want to confuse you.
No.
But this was the third area that we were looking to get into, and it was based on, like you were saying, potential head and shoulders coming back in to test this very quick consolidation at the open, and this previous consolidation level here and here. Those are why we were starting to build our position where we did. Now, the only thing that has to happen is we want the pattern to finish. And for head and shoulders, that means we want it to push down. But I really wanted it to happen a little bit quicker because it looks like now we are starting to develop the potential of positive divergence. See how the BBs have come up now. They might have come up enough that as we now push down, if we push down to test current low of day, I might have to start looking at getting out of 2 contracts here instead of 1. And that's fine. You got to react to what you see. I was really hoping this was going to push down further faster, but it didn't, and we're going to wait. We'll see what comes of this. One thing that we're definitely going to do at this point is we're going to tighten up our stop. We're going to come just above here. This stop is not in the best place it could be, but I really don't like taking on more than a $300 risk per trade. So since I'm in 3 contracts, every 10 ticks is $100 per contract. So 3 contracts, 10 ticks is $300. The stop is not in the greatest place. This is actually an area that I would even be looking to get short more, but I really don't want to break that risk management rule. I really need to respect that. It's just what it is. If I can, maybe one of the things I could do here, maybe I can. Oh boy, this is about to get confusing. Maybe I can try to get out of a contract making 5-6 ticks, giving me the right to move my stop away. That's actually, I should.
The 5 or 6 ticks that you may make.
Yeah,
so I should have.
I'm gonna hold off on that for now. And we're chopping around here. Not a huge surprise because we're right at today's VPOC. And remember, high volume nodes tend to slow down trade. When we got into this trade, if you remember, there was some low volume nodes in here. Those have filled in, so those no longer are part of our trading, a part of this particular trade anymore. We're still happy with the entry. I still like the potential setup, but when we got into that first contract, especially, there was part of our reasoning was because we had a low volume node that we were using as resistance. That low volume node has pretty much gone away. If we look at it at all, this can become the low volume node now, and it's kind of acting like support, but that's not enough. That's not enough to really worry me. But the longer we spend time here, the more I need to start considering moving the second contract up here for a profit target, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Again, I want to get online. All right. The only reason I'm not putting it at the same exact price is I want to be able to adjust it again if I need to. But what I'm doing here is the BBs are now, with the way the price is trading. Remember, I drew it out before. So one of the things that could happen is if we just start doing this, consolidate, drift, our BBs might actually form positive divergence. And that right now looks like is what's happening. So as much as I really, really want to be in a short trade here, looking for a longer move down. We just had the equities open too, so let's see if that gives us any strong push on oil. As much as I'd like to be in a short trade, looking for a move back into yesterday's range, which again is 54.26. The way this is starting to form, well, now certainly that's not what I'd like to see. But the way this is starting to form, where even if it does come down in my favor, it looks like we're going to need to close out more than one contract at the 10 tick profit target ahead of current low of day. But right now, it needs to fail on this move up, and we need to get back below this middle of the day. That's really key right now. You know, I don't like how long this consolidation is taking to form up here. I don't like how long we're spending time so far up towards the high of the day. Remember, we opened with a gap up. We had a bullish gap. The high from Friday's 54.26. Our open of the day was 54.54. So we have almost a 30 tick bullish gap. You know, I was looking to see if that gap would close. So when we opened, we pushed away from it initially, and then we came down, which is where we started getting the idea. Okay, we're going to look to see if we can't get into a short, because we're going to see if we can't make a further push after a pullback, make a further push to try to close the existing gap. And that is still what this trade is about. That is exactly what it is that we're looking for. And while this is doing nothing, let's at least take a look at the S&P. So right now, since the S&P is trading pretty much at all-time highs, I'm not really looking for too many short opportunities. They would have to set up awfully nice and awfully obvious. I'm more interested in looking at potential long opportunities down towards this microcomposite VPOC into Friday's value area high, Friday's VPOC. I would love to see a pullback. Oops, sorry. Fix that. I would love to see this type of setup here, a pullback, get through overnight low, maybe a little test here, fail, and pull in somewhere into this area, giving us a nice setup with potentially divergence for a good long opportunity. I would love to see that. Don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that's what we're looking for. Again, oil is coming and fucking around here with the middle of the day. It needs to get through. It needs to get down. Definitely setting up for what looks to be positive divergence on these BBs, depending on how we push down. So for now, I'm leaving this order here. If for some reason, as we move, if hopefully we move in the direction I want us to move in. If for some reason, as we move, we lose the potential of the positive divergence, then I will take one of these orders away, leaving just one profit target down here. But for now, this is kind of what we're stuck with. A little bit slow this morning. I showed at the beginning. Let me pull this up so I can show you as well. We have a release today at 10 o'clock pending home sales, and we have a Fed speaker at 11. I could see us chopping a little bit until pending home sales. You know, it's not something that usually would put us in the mud as much as we are right now, but I can see us chopping. There we go. We're coming below mid. We got to get through here. What I don't want this to do is I don't want this to become a double bottom down here. I don't want this to become, although it's a small one, I don't want it to become an inverse head and shoulders. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I got to use the restroom. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. So we've pushed down. We're coming towards our first profit target. Let's see if we can't push a little bit further, get through there. I have moved my second profit target away, because what has happened as we've come down here, we have slight positive divergence in the 610, although that will probably go away as we come to low. We do not have any positive divergence on the 987 or 1597. So I've moved my second profit target back away, leaving us the original profit target, the 10-tick profit target here above current low of day. We have our second profit target, which is above the high of Friday. So that is just in case we do not actually fill the gap. And then the third profit target is based on whether, maybe we do fill the gap. And if we do fill the gap, look to see if we can't push towards VPOC from Friday. So now we just kind of got to wait and see. So it looks like some bids built up pretty quickly here as we push down. Not crazy about that, but right now this consolidation area is really what we're looking at. As long as we can stay below there, and really I really don't even want to come back and test it, but as long as we can kind of stay below there, or if we do test it, not get through it, we're okay. I did have an opportunity to work on what's called my theoretical average. Right now, so we have our 3 contracts in from an average price of 47. I did have an opportunity to close out of a little bit here, giving me basically some profit on the trade, which that profit becomes part of your risk. So now let's just pretend for a minute that you close it out, you make $50, and you're willing to take a maximum risk of 300. Well, now you can take a maximum risk of 350. I'm not hugely familiar in how I'm going to trade based on theoretical average. Right now, I don't use it. But this was a pretty good example of where it could come into play, where I'm not thrilled at where my stop price is. I'd love to get my stop price above here. One of the ways to do that is to kind of scalp some of my trade, building profit, and then getting my theoretical average so that I can move my stop out to where I want it to go. But for now, we're not messing around with that. We're just going to leave it as it is. There we go. We got our first one out. And let's take a look. Notice no negative divergence, not 610, not 987, not 1597. We are exactly where we want to be in this trade. Our profit targets are where they want to be. If price ultimately decides to turn and swing up from here, there's really not much that would have forked. I shouldn't say that. You could ultimately then look back and say, well, yeah, look how it swung at low of day. But right now, with all the information we have available to us, this looks like a move that wants to continue. So we're going to kind of get out of its way. Next profit target is 29, 3 ticks above the high of Friday. Let's see if we can't get a push down to there. I'm not moving my stop to break even, okay? That has fucked me so many times over the last few weeks, because if price comes back up here, I don't want to buy here. I want to sell. So if we get a retracement and this move back towards overnight VPOC, back towards this consolidation, I'm going short again. So instead of me closing these 2, I'm going to add a third contract, back into my trade. So we saw now listen, just to clarify this, there are some cases where I will move it to break even. There are some where I really don't want to. And right now, I really don't want to. From our current low, 36, our profit target's about 7 ticks away. Let's see if we can't get a push down that way. We have offers stacking up. We have bids stacking up. This is pretty neutral down here. Again, I would rather avoid. We see some big sellers stepping in here. Let's see if maybe they can. Hopefully, they see what we see, and hopefully, we're all right. What we'd like to see at this point is I really want to see the push. If we can get below current low of day, it's going to be a fast move down. There are probably many people that have started to go long in this area and are going to have their stop price right below current low of day. If we can break 33, most likely we'll see a quick flush down. It might bounce right back, but we'll see a quick flush down because we have a lot of orders sitting here. Is my guess. My stop will just move itself to break even. We're going to get that out the way. So if we can get below here, I think we'll get a fairly fast flush down, getting through a lot of the stop orders that are down here of people that are currently long and are going to want to get out of their trade. And I also think it's going to trigger, one of the other reasons it'll trigger that push down is because there's a bunch of people that want to get short if we break the lower day. A very common, very typical trading style. There we go. So we did get a little quick push down, but not as far as I would like. Come on, you bastard. At this point, we are moving our stop, coming above this last swing. I actually really should have taken my profit there on this other one, but that's okay. So once again, no negative divergence. Everything is pointing the way we want it to point. My stop loss right now is kind of bothering me where it is a little bit. I'm not crazy about where it is, but what I'm going to do, just give us a second here. I want to see what happens on the order flow right now. I'd like to see, we need to hit bids. I want to see, okay, that's good. That's good. Now I want to see this 38 increase. I don't want us to keep trading here. I want it to stay red at increase. I don't want it to turn green. There we go. Stayed red, increase. That's nice. Now I want this 30 to go down. Well, see 105. Red just increased. I want this green to go down in number, which is the opposite of what's happening right now. So let's see what happens here. So they're taking offers. They're paying 33 right now, but we still have 27 contracts there. Let's see what happens as that. So that's holding right now. No, so it's down to 7. Let's see what happens if this gets down to 0. See how it just bumped back up? We're down to 8 again. See how it just turned? So now that's green. So now they're fighting here, and I'm sure this is confusing people right now, and I'm sorry about that. But what we want to see at this point now, really what would be ideal, is let this area and this area become our resistance. These 2 points of consolidation. Now I'm not looking to add on to my trade all the way down here. That's not my intention. But really what I could have and probably should have done was take my profit a couple ticks above where it currently sits, but not really a necessity. My stop loss is not in the greatest place right now, okay? What I mean by that is, once again, if we were to come back up here, I probably would rather be selling than buying. So as I say that out loud, I'm moving my stop loss. What I'd really like the opportunity to do, and certainly missed an opportunity here, you can see down here, 209 people are now on the bid right at current low of day. So we have to see if we can get back down there. And if we do, we need to see how that reacts. Is it going to remain such a high number as we come down, or will these people kind of disappear before we get there and they're actually fake? But really what I could have and probably should have done was taken another contract off somewhere in here, leaving myself with only one contract short, and look to maybe get back into another contract as price moved up. But that's okay. Let's see what comes of this. So once again, no positive divergence here as we've created new lows. Here, Mike, I'll show you what I mean. Low in price came with a low in BBs. Okay. So there is no positive divergence. The BBs are not doing the opposite of what price is doing at a low or a high. So now what we need to start paying attention to, because this does have the potential of once again creating positive divergence. As we come off of this low, depending on how we trade, we have to watch these BBs and see, are they going to create positive divergence near the current low of day? And if so, we're going to have to move our profit target up a little bit. We still have one out there. We still have one. While you were away, I moved that other profit target away because we lost we did not have positive divergence. I did not want to take my second trade off there. Let's also switch over real quick to the S&P. We're coming down into the area I was talking about where I want to start looking for some long trades. We don't have any positive divergence down here, so it's not that I'm looking to get into one just yet. But we're down in this area, so I also want to kind of be keeping an eye on what's going on over there. But for now, we're in the oil trade. This is where I'd like this bounce to stop. I really want to see us fail right around up here. Get back into this little area of consolidation. I'll draw them out again. Get back into this little area here, this little area here, and right now we're testing the low of that area. This is really where I'd like to see, even if we come up to about here, I'd like to see us fail there. But it could travel up more. We can come all the way up and test this swing, and still turn back down. So let's see what happens. Just kind of got to be patient. Look, I say this almost every day, and I'm getting sick and fucking tired of saying it. There is luck involved in trading to an extent. Okay, certainly there's more skill than luck, no doubt about that. There's a reason why the same people generally make money over and over and over again. But if you look here, it missed our profit target by 1 tick. Okay, that's not that's there's nothing to have said. Okay, yeah, we're stopping at 30 instead of 29. For all we could have just as likely stopped at 28. That's a little bit of bad luck on that, but so be it. Nothing we can do about that. So the S&P has turned up. What I'd like to see in the S&P is exactly what I don't want to see in oil. What I'd like to see in the S&P is a turn up, flatten out, push down, and while that happens, the BBs don't come back down to their existing low. I want price to get to its existing low or below. I want BBs to stay above their existing low, creating that positive divergence. That's exactly what I'm looking for in the S&P. It's exactly what I don't want to see in oil. With oil, I want to see price turn back down. I want to see the BBs continue to show that we can turn back down. Actually, what this is doing.
Did this do exactly what you wanted it to do?
It started
as far as
to. It's not done. Right now, it's potentially forming the pattern I'm looking for. To complete what I want it to do, it needs to push back down, and it needs to push down while the BBs stay at their current low a day. Right now these are all. So this one has come up a little bit, but certainly if what I want to happen happens. If price turns down, these BBs will turn down, and they will create a new low of day. That's what I'm looking for to have happen. Go ahead.
Did these two that you had here before sell? Did they move?
One already got filled, so I'm out of one position. The other one,
Okay.
I did move down. I moved down to here, and the reason I did that was because as we were coming to the low, as we were coming to where those were, we did not have positive divergence here. So I no longer wanted to get out of two of those contracts. The unfortunate part is that it did miss me by a tick, because right now, if I was able to get out of my second contract, I would actually be going short again right here. I would be adding back into my position, but I don't want to do that right now with two contracts on. Right. So what this is really not what I missing this certainly does change what I want to do. Like right now, I really wouldn't want to get short until it came quite a bit higher. And that's kind of really what I have to do. I really have to be willing to wait. So we took $100 off in profit right now. Okay. So if I wanted to get short right now, my maximum risk can be $400. Okay. Because, like I said, the most I'm willing to lose on a trade is $300. But I've already taken $100 profit. I do like where this is coming up to, but this is definitely a spot that I would consider wanting to go short. But had I gotten out of my second contract, and it sucks that I didn't, this would have been another $180 profit. So at this point, I'd be up $280, giving me a lot of room to play with in getting into more trades. But that's okay. Listen, you take what you get. I reacted a little bit slowly here when it came down. That I didn't move my order just to get out of this portion of the trade. But what this is potentially doing, and we have to watch this now, is we need to watch to see as this pulls up, if we make our move back down, are we going to do that and create positive divergence on the BBs? As of right now, the answer is no. As of right now, it looks like we would continue to show pushing down in the BBs, and the BBs would create new lows of the day. On the S&P, on this chart here, as we roll up like we're doing now, as we come up, now on this one, I want to see when we push down, I want these to have done this. I don't want them to come back down to their existing low of day. So I'm looking for literally the exact opposite things to happen on crude oil and the S&P in terms of the BBs. I want them both to push down. I want pricing on both of these to push down right now. But for oil, I don't want the BBs to show a potential reversal. For the S&P, I do want it to show a potential reversal. And we'll just have to see, we'll have to see what forms. Also, I need to pay attention to oil here because if we start consolidating, if we start showing the potential reversal, I have to move this profit target to get out of the second part of the trade and potentially move my third profit target to close out this trade in its entirety. But we just kind of have to wait to see what happens.
Gotcha.
I really don't want us to come up much more than where we are right now. I want this low volume node, this little double top here, this area of consolidation, this micro composite value area level. I want all of this to hold. I really want us to start pushing back down with the intention of, let me bring in this other chart just to show you again what we're looking for. Make this a little bigger for us. The intention is we are currently trading right here. What I'm looking for is us to stay and make our push down towards this low volume node right here, about 54.10. That's actually going to, seeing that is going to make me move up my profit target a little bit. The goal is to see if we can't test this low volume node. So right now, what we've done when we opened, we tested the upper end of this distribution, okay? And this low volume node right here is my separator. We tested the upper end of this distribution. Now we're looking to see if we can't come down to test the lower end of that distribution, and that would be where I get out of my last contract if we do that. But right now, that is not what's happening. So let's get this out of the way. So we're continuing to come back up right here towards this consolidation here, where we saw a lot of large trades go off. At this point, really, all I can do is kind of wait. We're getting close to 10 o'clock. We have the housing report coming out. I don't know how I feel about being in a trade during that news release. The S&P came up. I was really hoping for a decent opportunity to buy down here, and it still could be giving us one. You know, I would love a pullback somewhere near current low of day using this microcomposite VPOC as one level, value area high from Friday as another level, VPOC from Friday. I'd love to see a push somewhere into here. It would be aggressive for me to want to get into this trade above the current low of day, but I would be willing to if the BBs showed us positive divergence, because I am very much interested in being long in the S&P just because of the way it's been trading. Nice candlestick setup forming here on oil. Take a look here. We have a bearish candle followed by a small, almost doji style candle, followed by a, bullish candle, followed by a small, almost doji style candle, a little wider than a doji, a little bigger range than a doji, but I like how that closed. If this candle can stay bearish, if we can push and keep this candle bearish, that's a very, very nice candle.
Oh, it just
setup.
came down even further.
But we still got 273 ticks in this candle, so we need this to, ultimately we want the candle to stay down here as we get towards zero. That's really what we're hoping for right now.
And if you get a chance later today, give me a call. I want to discuss a few quick things with you. I've just been absolutely frazzled and would love to speak with you. Awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
I mean, I'm going to bow out of this session for today. I got so much on my plate, but yeah, definitely drop me a line when you get a chance, and I'll speak to you soon. A lot of love to you.
All right, brother. All right,
okay,
man. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So once again, still just waiting to see, really would like to see this candle come down for the close. BB's 987, 1597, definitely not showing any type of bullish divergence yet. 610, we do have a bounce up, but again, just like we saw before, the expectation would be if we can push down towards the current low of day, the 610 will lose its positive divergence and will give us reason to believe that we can continue to push down. Again, I really would have loved to have been able to get out of my second contract here. I should have come up to do that because this would give me a great opportunity to get short here. I'm not going to now because I don't like ultimately what the risk would be, my total dollar risk for this trade based on where I would want to put my stop. So we're staying to what we have. What this is potentially doing for us though as well right now, this is actually potentially giving us reason, or not yet, to move this second profit target. So right now, our second profit target is based on the fact that we are not going to get through Friday's high, and we're not going to ultimately fill the current gap. But if we continue to push down and we don't get positive divergence on the BBs, it stands to reason that we would make new lows. Right now, last time we made new lows, it was only by a little bit. Let's see where our 100% is. Okay, so we're going to leave this as it is. I just drew out a quick ABCD pattern, and at 100%, it's 54.27. So we're going to front run that. So we will leave this second profit target where it is. And actually, in a few minutes, I'm going to wrap it up for the day. So that was a nice close on that candle. We'd like to see follow through here. In a few minutes, we're going to wrap it up for the day. We're going to leave our profit targets and stop loss where they are. Oh man, S&P, really, really would love to see this come down, get towards lower day. Even better would be a push through it with what could. We don't have any divergence on the 41.81. We may have a 25.84. Depends on how we come down. And we may have a 15.97 depending on how we come down. But that I would love to see it get somewhere further than where it is now. I'd love to see it get down towards market composite VPOC value area high. We talked about this one in the homework, but don't know if it will. Well, I guess I don't know what anything will be. You can see the 15.97. We are continuing to create new lows on that 15.97 on crude oil here, on the BBs. I really want to see this. Really think this should continue its move down into Friday's range. I should be able to get this profit target here. And this third one is a little bit aggressive for this particular move, but I'm not going to be in front of the screen to start messing around with it. So I'm leaving this one where it is, and basically I have it. I have the profit target at an area above the low volume node in our double distribution from our homework chart, and I have it above VPOC from Friday. So, if we can get into Friday's range, the next level we expect to test is value area high, and then beneath that is going to be VPOC. So that's where I will leave this. And then at this point, I'm going to bid you guys a good day. And if any, like always, if you want, feel free to give me a email, text, phone call if you have it. Comment on one of the videos, and I will respond as quickly as I can. Usually, I'll try to do it in a video in the next day's session, so this way I can answer your question with some examples on the screen. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.